Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
If you're just joining us, Matt is drinking leftover New Year's champagne out of a jelly jar.
It's not true that she's lying. This is not a jelly jar. It's some sort of...
It's a hot toddy glass.
It's a hot toddy glass. Thank you. It's a cold toddy. Ever had one? They're great.
The party never ends at Chapo Trap House.
Why can't more humor be like cold toddy?
Yeah.
Cold toddy and the TikTok teens. Why can't
They're going to save us.
Yeah, it's going to
Save us from problematic comedy.
The funny thing about that is the TikTok teens are really racist.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Have you
What
seen
is
them?
funny to you when you're a teen?
They're not all like nice, pleasant cold pockets people.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cold Pockets people are nice or pleasant.
All right. I guess one last news of note about the election. Blow the horn of mourning for
Don't dub that. Leave those in.
Julian Castro.
Julian Castro.
Julian Castro, R.I.P.
is dropping out of the race.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to a fake one. That's
He
right,
was
I said it.
forced out, as people say, which I still don't fucking understand.
How was he forced out?
Exactly.
like at the
no.
Indy
Actually,
500.
honestly,
Wait, what?
none of these people want to
This is
explain
like when the
what
Kamala,
they mean. Yeah, no,
when
it's
Kamala,
it's
she was forced out.
right.
Of
It's the
race.
exact same
What did they
thing.
say that you said something on an episode that I half listened to, where they said that Bernie's plan was to evict black candidates.
Yeah.
Like that was the language someone used.
Yeah.
No.
Bernie, the Jewish landlord, fucking.
If you want to get technical about
He's
it,
evicting candidates of color.
if you want to get technical about it, Julian Castro was the eviction candidate.
Yes.
That's the thing. And
Yes.
that is, like today, everybody, including a lot of,
Progressive
a
types.
lot
Yeah.
of progressive types. And I understand that you want to look magnanimous, especially if you're like pro Bernie and it feels like you're winning and somebody drops out. You want to be nice. But like people were like, he ran a great campaign and he brought up all these issues. And it's like, that's terrifying. I mean, obviously, we lucked out that he didn't get anywhere, but like that appeal still works. Like the transparent fucking lip service bullshit, the surface level tokenism of fucking Castro actually like got anybody to say a nice word about him, considering his record as evictor in chief for fucking Obama during the housing crisis. The guy, he was basically, the sheriff in fucking Roger and Me who has to kick everybody out of their house. That was him, but for the entire fucking country.
Yeah.
No, I was.
if you like your house, you have to get out.
No, with Castro, like whatever, he topped out at like what 1%, and like made it to a couple debates where his highlight was saying the thing about Joe Biden that everyone knows but you're not allowed to. He made some like De Blasio tried to do like a bunch of these people they tried to occupy the progressive lane despite nothing in their fucking history or background showing any credibility on any of this shit. And now that he's dropped out, I've just seen so many people like reverse engineering that he was a really good guy. He brought up a lot of important issues.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
I can't remember any issue he brought up at
Well, it
all.
was like,
He
the
had
immigration
some
thing.
immigration stuff, but like it was all very kind of
His big
It was all
one-
very dreamer kind of stuff
Yeah,
too.
but
Which
his big one, as I recall, was during the debates, and he was not bad during the debates in the time that he got to talk.
Really
It was
good
like
eyebrows.
shitty early ones.
he looked much more polished than almost anyone.
He
Good suits.
said
good
he
suits.
wanted to turn crossing the border illegally to a civil offense rather than a criminal offense.
And that I honestly think
That was good, and that led
Yeah.
the field
That's
to a
fine,
degree
yeah.
on
the
that
table
one.
for
Yeah.
anyone dealing
And everyone,
with
the
it.
thing is, he was a candidate that nobody like knew or cared about him enough that they would not say that they don't like him or they hate him because he was a non-entity in the whole fucking race. And
I think he'll be
honestly,
back.
part of that was his fault. Like he just ran a bad campaign and he dropped off the map and he could not make it to the debates, which, I mean, that's also the DNC rules, which, again, I think are unnecessarily onerous, even though the last debate was much better with,
See,
fewer
it's funny.
people
Like
there.
if Bernie wasn't where he is, I would probably say, get them all up there. But with Bernie up there, it's like, no, fuck
Yeah,
that.
right. I
but
care
also
about Bernie
like
winning.
just if the only thing I can remember about your run is moderate immigration reform, that's not
His
incredibly
eyebrows were really
inspiring.
good. That's all I remember.
So the take is he was forced out of the race, which again is baffling me because one, nobody put a fucking gun to his head and said, you're dropping out.
We don't know that.
If you ever want
Bernie
to see
did Bodies and Spaces on Julian Castro, and he had
That's
to
the
drop out.
implication is that there's some white racism conspiracy to keep the only Latino candidate to kick him out of
What
the
stopped
field.
people of the minority persuasion who were inspired by him from saying they would vote for him in polls.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, honestly, look at yourself. You didn't fucking support him. You didn't give him money. It's your fucking fault, not mine. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't support the guy because I don't support the guy.
Well, that's because a lot of them have this weird, and it's because they don't care who it is as long as it isn't Bernie. They have this weird, like, participation trophy mentality. Where
Yes.
like, well, we should support all of the candidates.
Well, what it really is,
except
what
Bernie,
it really is it's again, it's what we all have been talking about on this show, which is the sapping of all politics from politics,
Yeah.
and that these people, they look at candidates like paint swatches and think, like they're filling fucking Barbie's dream house with, okay, I get a black candidate and a Latino candidate.
It's an extemporaneous discussion. It's like, as much as they shit on millennials for being like the fucking, participation trophy, whatever, what they are literally trying to do is paint politics as not what it is, a zero-sum game, and like some kind of collaborative, like, but you got a giraffe in spelling kind of Montessori bullshit.
And they also view it. And they also
Your kids in Montessori schools getting animals instead of grades.
That's an Arrested Development joke. Yeah.
The other
You
one-
got it.
I got it. The other one is claiming that this is because the early states are too white. Which, I mean, look, it's a stupid fucking process. Everyone agrees with that. But he was also polling at 0% in his home state of Texas.
Yeah.
He's polling at nothing in Nevada, where majority of people who are going to caucus are Latino, like him.
And
so what you're saying is bullshit.
And the same argument was made when Kamala dropped out, that about Iowa, New Hampshire, privilege white voters, which is true. But they also said that she was kicked out of the race or forced out by unfair blah blah blah. She was
Jewish
polling
landlord.
under Andrew Yang in her home state of California after the entire state Democratic Party endorsed her the minute she got in the race.
Also, by the way, and like I said to Amber, that's not nice for a candidate that your candidate is trying to beat to drop out.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? You want them to all be friends?
Well, see, that's the thing.
Till the fucking end of the primary? That's a very Carl Diggler thing. Everyone gets an equal amount of delegates. What the fuck are you talking about?
the only if you read the way that people responded to the Kamala and now the Castro dropping out, none of it scans if you're looking at it through a political lens of this is a zero-sum game, this is a primary, this is a contest. But it all makes perfect sense if you imagine that they're talking about a TV show or a movie that they watch.
And as well, it's all about elevating voices.
Because it's like hashtag...
Elevating voices for 2020, no doing bodies and spaces.
It's like hashtag Julian deserved better. Like Rose Tico from the fucking Star Wars. She wasn't in the movie enough. Julian's not in the campaign enough.
No, that's exactly it. And
happened
frankly,
to him.
and
Release the JJ cut of the 2020
Well, that's the thing.
election.
Nothing happened to him. He deserved better. He didn't get fucking chucked in a shallow grave. He just doesn't get to be president.
But see, that's part of it, is that it doesn't make sense when you take consideration what we're saying, is that they're making choices based on the fact that nobody's supporting them in polls, nobody's giving them things. They're making a decision because their campaigns aren't viable. But if you imagine it like you're watching a movie and there's someone writing it or there's someone directing it, then the choice for him to drop out is racist.
to be fair, that is how liberals think.
That is true.
I think they should bring back Castro after Super Tuesday, but bring him back like they did Carrie Fisher in Rise of Skywalker. So they'd be like,
Oh my God.
Julian Castro, our numbers are down. Like, what can we do to save ourselves? Yes. You're saying we should do the other thing. No,
I think they,
and then he just clips, and then it's just Julian Castro died.
There could be a big medley
see him
with a
shot from-
Tupac hologram.
Yeah.
Now here's what they actually should do. In the last debate before Super Tuesday, they bring out all the candidates who've dropped out to moderate.
I like that.
That's very Andy Cohen of you. That's very reality.
Yeah, that's very Bravo.
Yeah, that is.
But here's the last thing I want to say about Julian Castro and the idea that representation matters in the primaries. None of the people saying that actually would give a shit if Andrew Yang dropped out.
No.
no,
they don't.
None of them give the idea of an Asian American candidate who raised $15 million, way more than anyone thought this guy with no political experience would have come
That's
to.
the power of childish Gambino.
All right. For our first reading series of this new year, we return to an old favorite.
An old friend.
The ogre of the Upper West Side.
The Mr. Creosote of Lexington Avenue.
Yeah, and I'm speaking, of course, about, treat tyrant John Podhoretz.
Oh God, it's been so long.
Just eating. eating the candy-coated bones of children under a bridge in Riverside Park.
And complaining that the bones took too long to get there.
This is John Podhoretz, who's right before the year ended, penned this for the New York Post opinion section. Why I quit Twitter, and you should too.
Hang on. What's the date on this?
December 26, 2019.
By the way, I would just like to say one thing. As someone who quit Twitter a few years ago, quitting Twitter is 100% healthy. It helps your attention span. After like 2 weeks, I could read the whole paper. After a month, I could read like complicated nonfiction books. After 3 months, I read Moby Dick. I read very complicated, like big, long novels. It's really good for your attention span. And also you don't get distracted by bullshit.
What was that?
But if you...
Sorry?
There you go. There you go. It really does. There's something about scrolling that fucks with your brain. But anyone who writes about quitting Twitter, fucking loser.
Yeah.
Amber Frost and the Beer Nerd, the only people who have successfully
We're the
quit
only
Twitter.
ones. We're the most powerful
But
creatures.
this fucker,
Well,
I
like-
swear to God, Will, this fucker has written this exact article 5 times. I swear to God, we've done this before.
You
We
know
are
what it is?
in a fucking
You know what
LSD
it
thought
is,
loop
though?
right
yes,
now.
they always do that because it's always you know what, this time it's for real. I'm leaving his ass. Like, it's that thing.
You see, this fucking like 55-year-old man from the Upper West Side is like a fucking teenage girl hysteric.
If you mean it, you leave. That's it.
Well, yeah, I'm like, quitting Twitter, I'm sure is good for your attention span and mental health. Just like, quitting alcohol or drugs would be good for your overall health as
But
well.
no one likes a sober guy.
Also, stop, yeah, if you do that, good for you. Don't fucking don't brag about it.
Yeah.
Don't
harsh
bother
everyone
other
else's
people.
buzz.
Exactly.
You still like getting fucked up.
Amber and the Beer Nerd don't go around all the time saying, "Oh, you're on Twitter." Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I just know that when I quit, I just became a different person. It's like, no, it's just easier to read books now.
Okay, so this is John Podhoretz, Why I Quit Twitter, and you should too.
I hope it links to all the other fucking articles he wrote about this.
Okay, so I haven't posted a tweet in 9 months.
No one noticed.
Did you give birth
No
to a
one
fucking
noticed,
another
so I
baby?
had to write this.
And it was a death threat to the Carnegie Deli.
So I haven't posted a thing in 9 months. How am I doing? I'm still in recovery. Over the previous 10 years, I had written 180,000 tweets.
Good God.
Yes, I said 180,000. That's 18,000 a year, $1,500 a month. Like I said, probably a third of those just haranguing
Yes.
delivery, Grubhub, and
Delivery
Seamless
people.
delivery people. I was putting out an average of 50 tweets a day while holding down a full-time job editing a magazine with 2 firm writing deadlines every week and raising 3 children with a wife who works full-time.
Well, raising.
Okay. Also,
if you're tweeting that much, you are an absentee father.
well, also, it proves that his job, in quotation marks, is absolute make-work bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, you have 2 firm writing deadlines a week. What, to just fart out another column about how angry you are at I don't know, Barnard students, or you're like I said, the candy shop who told you to stop pressing your face up against the window.
You're paying for the Windex.
Yeah. How is that even possible? Well, I've always written fast and badly too. So and for much of my life, I've felt like a frustrated would-be stand-up comic. Wow, what a shock. He has all of the energy and rage of a stand-up
Yeah.
comic,
Yeah.
but none of the talent.
Yeah. Well, also, like, frustrated would-be stand-up comic is
The Joker.
The most, yeah. You're the Joker. Yeah.
He's the dang Joker.
A tweet, he goes, a tweet is basically a one-liner. So if you're a compulsive quipster who never quite got up the nerve to stand in front of a brick wall doing bits, it's the
I'd like to put him in front of a brick wall. Parody in the game. In the game.
a compulsive. Virgil, would you consider yourself something of a compulsive quipster?
A little bit. I've been known to deliver some bon mots.
No, that is you're the fluent in snark thing. Yeah, that is, yeah. So,
Dorothy Snarker is going to be his.
who never quite got up the nerve to stand in front of a brick wall doing bits.
Oh.
It's the outlet you always dreamed of. Yeah. for every antisocial lunatic who didn't have the balls or social skills required to perform in public, yes, it is actually the dream medium for every one of your thoughts.
Well,
So they
also-
sat seething quietly
Yeah.
on the internet, eating candy.
a lot of these right-wing pundits are actually failed stand-ups.
Yes.
And
Not-
like,
especially
that's
of the young generation.
Especially of the young ones. But yeah, I guess a guy like Podhoretz, because that's the esteem that they want.
Yeah, well, okay, we say right wing, but with the millennials, there's some
Sure,
there's
fine.
some failed rose emoji stand-ups there too.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean is very specifically though, of the younger generation, half of the people who are now conservative entertainers or whatever went to Hollywood and then tried to be an actor or comedian for 3 months and then were
They weren't
it didn't
immediately
work. They weren't
rewarded.
immediately successful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phyllis is being cute.
Well, they're also not, they're also not talented remotely, but
Yeah.
they found an audience by triggering
Exactly.
libs.
So, Twitter worked well for me in many ways. Over the course of this decade, my follower count rose from near zero to 141,000 people. The tweets helped garner an audience for my writing and for articles and commentary, the magazine I edit. I developed surprisingly meaningful relationships with writers I long respected,
No,
but
you
who had
didn't.
never met
You have
personally.
They
no
hate you.
meaningful relationship in your life.
And
Your
they
your
love
your
you.
wife doesn't know your middle name. You have no meaningful
I was
relationships.
again, meaningful relationships. He's talking to the young woman who is the head of an Ivy League.
You're so
Zionist
small.
organization, and just saying yeah, go to bed.